All right, I'm going to be honest with you. Bonds are probably the least exciting thing we're going to talk about on this channel. No crazy returns, no viral stock picks, nothing like that. But here's the thing. There's a reason that some of the smartest investors in the world keep a portion of their money in bonds. And if you don't know what they are, you're missing a piece of the puzzle. So today we're breaking down bonds and treasury bills, what they are, how they work, and who they're actually for. So a stock is an ownership in a company. A bond is completely different. When you buy a bond, you're not buying a piece of anything. You're lending money. That's it. You're the bank. Here's how it works. A company or a government needs to raise money. Instead of going to a bank, they go to investors like you and say, lend us money. We'll pay you back in a set amount of time with interest. That promise is the bond. You give them your money, they give you regular interest payments called coupon payments, and at the end of that term, they give you your original investment back. That's called the principal. So the return on a bond is pretty straightforward. You know exactly what you're getting and when you're getting it before you even buy it. That's the appeal behind them. Now, not all bonds are the same, so let's break down the main ones. First, you've got treasury bills, treasury notes, and treasury bonds. They're all issued by the US government. The difference is really just the time horizon. Treasury bills or T-bills are short term, 1 year or less. The treasury notes are medium term, anywhere from 2 to 10 years, and treasury bonds are long term, up to 30 years. They're considered the safest investments you can make because they're backed by the US government. The idea being that the US government is not going to default on its debt. Then you've got municipal bonds. They're issued by state and local governments. What makes these interesting is that the interest you earn is typically tax exempt at the federal level. So depending on your tax bracket, these can actually be more attractive than a corporate bond, even if the yield looks lower on paper. Then there's corporate bonds. These are issued by companies. They generally pay higher interest than government bonds because there's more risk involved. A company can go bankrupt. The government is a lot less likely to. Then at the far end of the risk spectrum, you've got junk bonds, also called high yield bonds. These are corporate bonds from companies with lower credit ratings. They pay the higher interest rates, but the risk of the company defaulting is significantly higher. High risk, high reward. Sound familiar? There are two types of way to make money with the bond. The first is coupon payments. These are just regular interest payments you receive while you hold the bond. Think of it like a dividend, but for lending money instead of owning a company. The second is yield to maturity. This is the total return you'll get if you held the bond all the way until it expires, accounting for all the coupon payments plus getting your principal back. This is the number you really want to look at when you're comparing bonds because it gives you the full picture of what you're actually earning. So here's where bonds actually get interesting, even for someone like me who doesn't own any right now. When the stock market gets volatile, like really volatile, a lot of investors rotate money in and out of stocks and into bonds. And the reason is simple. Bonds are stable. You know what you're getting. When everything is bleeding and nobody knows what's going to happen next, that predictability becomes really valuable. This is one of the ways people hedge their portfolios. You're not trying to get rich off bonds. You're trying to protect what you already have while the market figures itself out. It's like an anchor. The stocks are the engine, and the bonds are the thing that keeps you from flying off the road completely. Now here's the downside, and it's a real one. Bonds can actually lose you purchasing power over time. Here's what I mean. Say you buy a bond that pays you 3% interest every year. Sounds decent, right? But if inflation is running 4% that year, meaning everything costs 4% more, your 3% return isn't keeping up. You're technically making money, but you're losing ground in terms of what that money can actually buy you. This is one of the main reasons why I personally don't have bonds in my portfolio right now. I'm young, I have time, and I'd rather take on more risk for higher potential rewards. But that calculus changes as you get older and protecting what you've built, because more important than growing money is keeping it. So look, I don't own any bonds or treasury bills right now, and I'll be straight up about why. I'm less risk adverse, I'm in growth mode, and the stock market is where I want my money working for me at this stage of my life. But do I think bonds are useless? Not at all. If you're someone who loses sleep watching your portfolio drop during a rough market, bonds might be exactly what gives you stability. If you're closer to retirement and protecting your wealth matters more than growing it, bonds make a lot of sense. And during times of real economic uncertainty, having that anchor in your portfolio is a legitimate strategy. It's just not where I am right now, but hopefully this information allows you to decide if they're worth it for you or not. Again, this is not financial advice. Do your own research.